Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a look at the Lane of Sweets collection that's available right now from SuperChic Lacquer. These polishes were sent to me for review and they are inspired by the Nutcracker. If you'd like to shop, you can use my affiliate code SLOPPY10 to save 10% off of any purchase price, and I do so much appreciate anytime you guys use my code to shop. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into the swatches and review. This is a collection of 6 hollow flaky shades that are also scented for a really fun holiday feel. So first up is Sugar Buzz. So this polish is described as a super intensely bright, light-catching, multicolor flaky hollow that features an array of candy-like colors with a hint of shimmering blue undertones. So this one is described as being scented like hard candy. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to apply it today all on its own on my natural nail. This one is going to make a beautiful topper, especially over a darker color. It has all different kinds of shades of those larger flakies that are, I would say they're metallic, and they're also almost like shard glitters. It is going to make a little bit of a texture on the nail. So there's a look at that first coat, just a nice little array of glitters across the nail. 2 coats is definitely going to build it up. With these, I did find that a third coat was super close to complete coverage. I did do a little bit of spot checking toward the tip after the third coat, so pretty much a 4th coat. But if you wanted to sponge these on, that is definitely a really good method to do with these. It's going to give you a really intense and a really unique vibe. So here's a look at that third coat. I'm going to show you what I mean by spot check. I'm just going to dip my brush a little bit more and then just spot and fill in any of the bare looking areas. It makes for a gorgeous flush finish. This one does have a good amount of texture, so I do recommend going in with 1 or 2 coats of your favorite glossy top coat, but the finish is really fun and unmatched. This definitely does look like shimmering candy on the nails. I love all those pops of a rainbow from each of the shard glitters. So here's a view from a different angle underneath my artificial lighting, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that artificial lighting. To me, this one gave off a bit of a scent of almost like a sweet chewing gum. So next up is Sweet Heat, and this polish is described as an intense copper rose flaky hollow, vibrantly accented with shimmering violet undertones. So this one is scented sweetly yet spicy like brown sugar with a hint of cinnamon. I would definitely say that's extremely spot on. You do get those beautiful cinnamon notes, but it's not a strong or spicy scent. Very sweet, and one of my favorites of this collection. So here's a look at that first easy coat. I did just apply it nice and easy. I did think that you did do a little bit of fishing where you kind of swirl the brush around just to get the maximum amount of glitters onto your brush. 2 coats is going to add that and bump up the coverage, but it's not completely opaque. And I did feel like I needed to do a little bit of spot checking early on with this one. The flakies wanted to slide off my nail a little bit. So here's a look at that third coat. That's really where the coverage is starting to build up. Again, I did spot check close towards my tip where you can see it's kind of shining through. I do have very strong visible nail lines, so if you have shorter nails or less visible nail lines, you won't have to worry about that as much. So 3 coats plus spot checking pretty much makes for full coverage. Here's a look at that completed mani. Add 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath the artificial lighting. This one again has a little bit of texture. I do recommend going in with 1 or 2 coats of your favorite glossy top coat. So here's a quick view from a different angle. I would say that this is among my favorites, just very beautiful and warm, especially if you're into the rose gold vibe. So here is a look at that completed and a final swatch photo at an angle underneath artificial lighting. So next up is Holly Lolli, and this polish is described as an intense, wintry, holly green flaky hollow with a super vibrant hot pink flush of shimmering undertones. You can see those very apparent in the bottle. They translate just like that to the nail as well. So this one is scented like crisp winter berries. To me, this was like a gum that has a very strong mint vibe to it. Very sweet still and very nice on the nail. By the way, because I know these are textured, that scent is going to carry through any top coat you use. So I used 2 coats of the liquid macro and had no trouble picking up those scents, especially after it had dried down. So again, 1 coat, you could use that as a topper if you wanted to. I think those shimmer tones are going to pick up really nicely over any darker color you would want to layer this over, but it does build up pretty well on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and show you again. 3 coats plus a little bit of spot checking is going to make for full coverage, and that shimmer really is going to help build up the opacity as well, especially at angles. So here you can see 3 coats really, really close. I do just have a little bit of nail line peeking through. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that with an extra little dip from the brush. If you do spot checking, especially towards the tips, you will want to give it a little bit more time to dry before you go in with the top coat, but that's no issue at all, especially for this really cool color payoff. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath the artificial lighting. You can see that that's such a beautiful combination, that bright, bright, hot, shimmering pink plus the teal wintergreen. I love it. So next up is one of the more unique polishes of this collection. So this one is called Spoonful of Sugar Plums. So it's described as an intensely bright silver flaky hollow with a flash of vibrant shimmering lavender undertones. So this one is scented most appropriately like a sweet sugar plum. So I did get a very sweet vibe from this one. I am not familiar with a sugar plum type scent, but it is kind of like candyish and sweet. I enjoyed it. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one has a little bit of a finer grit to the glitter. It's not as bang in your face. It's more soft and ethereal, and I was super, super in love with it. Because the glitters are a little bit smaller and maybe that shimmer is a little less intense, I did need to go in for 4 coats with this polish. I did not mind it at all because that color payoff is just so gorgeous, and again, ethereal, just fairy-like, and I loved it. So I'm going to go ahead. That's 3 coats. I do still have a good bit of visible nail line there. I think because it's finer here, spot checking wouldn't really take care of that. If you wanted to sponge this one on, however, I think that would be the most intense and best bang for your buck. So here is a look at that 4th and final coat, and then once more in a complete mani. So again, this is before a glossy top coat, so a little bit of texture going on here. Not as much as maybe some of the other polishes. And then here is a quick view from a different perspective. So I'm super, super disappointed that I did not get this one out in direct sunlight because I know it is going to be amazing. So here's a view once more from a different angle, and then my final swatch photo, again underneath that artificial lighting. So next up is a Don't Eat the Cotton Candy, and honestly, I do believe that this is going to be my top pick of the collection. So this one is described as an intense cotton candy blue flaky hollow with a super vibrant hot pink flash of shimmering undertones, and it's scented like a carnival of freshly spun sugar. So it does have those gorgeous and really fun cotton candy undertones to it. I loved it. I caught a whiff of cotton candy and it was like a surprise every time it caught my nose. And the color combination on this one is just outstanding. So this does have the larger shard glitter. It's going to have a little bit of texture and it is going to need a little bit of time to build up. I think that this one would be fun to be utilized as a topper as well. I can imagine doing it over a deep, deep navy base. I think that'd be beautiful on the nails. But again, I'm going to go ahead and show you how it's swatched all on its own today. So 3 coats plus a little bit of spot checking there towards the tip and just making sure that you manipulate all these glitters exactly where you want them. You can see I had a little bit of a shard there that wanted to hang off the end. Just a gentle swipe and it goes exactly where you want it. So with spot checking, this one is complete coverage in 3 to 4 coats depending on your application. And again, I do recommend going in with your favorite glossy top coat. But this color is so beautiful. Okay, so here's a look from a different angle with a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. This is just such a play on the nail. It's going to look completely different at every angle. Super, super beautiful. And then this is my final swatch photo at an angle under that same artificial lighting. So I'm going to round out the collection today with a bittersweet oil spill. So this one is described as an intensely dark, flaky hollow with a flash of a bittersweet chocolate undertones. It's also scented like a fudge shop. So it does have those really fun chocolate scents to it. And because I'm smelling the chocolate, it makes this polish pull a little bit more brown tone than it is black. It's really fun, like super cool to play with. When I first applied the first coat, I thought that this was a black base, but as I smelled those chocolate scents, it did seem a little bit more brown in my eyes. So it's going to depend, again, on you and your application and how you perceive this polish. So 1 coat is pretty sheer. Again, you could use this one as a topper if you wanted to. It does have those really gorgeous holographic shard glitters that are a little bit larger in there to amp up that coverage. 2 coats is going to add more of the glitter, and then this third is going to bring it right right to the edge of full coverage. Again, with just a little bit of spot checking, it's going to help be completely opaque on the nail. It is going to have a little bit of texture, so I do recommend going in with 1 or 2 coats of your favorite glossy top coat. And you are going to want to give it just a little bit of time to dry so you don't disturb those flakies. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 to 4 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. I really like how those holographic glitters are playing in this base. So here's a look from a different angle. I'm going to go ahead and call this angle 1 and then once more at angle 2. So please let me know down below which one you guys prefer. I'm really loving and thinking about switching to number 1 as opposed to a 2. So this is my final swatch photo of a bittersweet oil spill underneath those artificial lighting. And that does wrap up my swatch and review of the Land of Sweets collection coming from SuperChic Lacquer. I'll go ahead and link her storefront down below. Don't forget to use my coupon code SLOPPY10. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can also do that at Sloppy Swatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.